Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Sending you all my love. Just going to wait till everyone hops on. Good morning to everyone on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Sending you all my love. Hi to everybody on Zoom, all of our called karmas from all over the world. A warm welcome to you all. Hi to everybody on YouTube. Good. Everything is working. Yes. It's so good when everything is working. Thank you. Everything working? Good morning. Good morning. All right. Have a lot of ground to cover. So happy that everything's working and look forward to this time with you. I woke up this morning just happy. Just so grateful. Just so lighthearted. I feel such a sense of optimism and hope and awe and wonder as it relates to everything that's happening now, and also as it relates to everything that's happening in the world. And I know when some of you observe things that are going on right now, and there's some very real things that are happening right now, it feels like there's a fundamental disconnect between my inner experience and what's happening outside of me, the evidence that's outside of me. And after a while, you have to get that that's the liberation. That the liberation is, in fact, having a relationship with one's inner reality and empowering one's inner reality, the vibrancy of being, the love, the light, the presence, the possibility that we all carry within us, as opposed to where humanity is in its current evolutionary cycle, where it is in its maturation. And so we're blessed because we get to be peaceful at a time in human history where everybody is experiencing some form of survival, some form of overwhelm, some form of stress. And what allows us to be peaceful isn't that we've abdicated responsibility, we're not living in an ashram somewhere, we haven't created some manufactured environment of peace. We're living in the world, we're living real lives, we're real people, we're going through real things. And what allows us to move through life peacefully is the fact that we have figured out that being human is not the problem. It's not a condition, it's not something that we have to overcome, it's not something that we need to change. In fact, being human is just a means to an end. It is what allows us to express the light, the love, the potential, the possibility that we are in this world. And so while everyone else is distracted by their humanity, trying to overcome their humanity, expecting some different outcome as it relates to being human, we have come into the profound acceptance of who we are because we have uncovered the profound eternal truth that our humanity is in fact the doorway into a greater experience of life and living. And that every existing framework, system, and structure as it relates to transformation is fundamentally flawed and incomplete. Because it's all about changing who you are as a person. It's about changing your mind. It's about changing your emotions. It's about changing your thoughts. It's about having some different version of you be present, which quite honestly is just very rude because it implies inherently that the version of you that you are now is fundamentally incapable of living your life and dealing with what you have to deal with. I can't find anything wrong with you. And I can't find anything wrong with you because you're a part of the perfection, you see. You're a part of the infinite intelligence that made everything. And just as much as everything else seems to unfold spontaneously and automatically all by itself, and there's a rhythm and a cadence to it, and life continues to evolve, and greater possibilities continue to present themselves every day, in that same way, you are a part of that same intelligence, that same energy. And this is where you find freedom. You find freedom by shaking off the shackles of imperfection, and by no longer allowing people to prey on the illusion of imperfection that they themselves have imprinted, that they themselves have superimposed over you. After a while, once you break free of the shackles of imperfection, you begin to accept the version of being human that you are. You stop having a problem with your emotions. You stop having a problem with your feelings. You stop having a problem with your mind. You stop having a problem with your body. You stop trying to get rid of your ego and your identity. And you finally just allow yourself to be an individual, to be unique. You find the ability to breathe, to be calm, to find some much needed respite from the overwhelming nature of surviving everything. And after a while you realize that everyone in your life is working on themselves just so they can out-survive other people. All of these strategies, all of these goals, all of these outcomes are so they can just out-survive others. Well, I don't know about you, but the last time I checked, I didn't sign up for the survival package of being a human being. I didn't sign up for the let's get stressed out and overwhelmed until we die version of being human. What an epic and tragic waste of time. What a horrible use of time arbitrage. Well, actually, I came here because it's just so beautiful. Look at the planet, it's wonderful. Look at how diverse we all are as human beings. The way we think, the way we feel, the way we live, the way we pray, the way we engage in life. It's all so beautiful. Every part of life is just overflowing with possibility and potential. And every day we have the capacity to demonstrate this aliveness. In the middle of natural disasters, in the middle of man-made, manufactured conflicts, in the middle of family disagreements, in the middle of everything that you could ever possibly go through and imagine, we have the power to be at peace. And that peace is accessing the very truth of our being. It is the foundation of all that we are. After a while, once you finally throw off this flawed thesis of trying to fix, heal, change, and improve, working on yourself, the only self that you're working on is the self that will always need to be worked on. It's the one that's incomplete. Well, then you start to realize, well, hang on a minute. I'm already free. I'm a sovereign being. I have autonomy. I have intuition. I have guidance. I have all of these things that I was trying to attain, that I was working so hard to try and become and move toward. I already have all of these things. And then you begin to move through your life with an absence of need. You realize you've got what it takes to live your life. You've got what it takes to feel your feelings. In fact, your feelings aren't wrong, they're not bad, they're just experiences that you're having. You've got what it takes to be with your mind. Not wrong, not bad, just an experience that you're having. The body is just an experience that you're having for whatever limited amount of time you get to have it for. But what is all of this really about? For me, all of this is about celebrating the beauty of the diversity and finding a sense of unity in the midst of the diversity. It is the antithesis of conformity. It's the antithesis of holding on to an ideology. It's the antithesis of becoming. People who are in a journey of becoming will continue to be on a journey of becoming until their last breath. They're never going to make it because there's nowhere to get to. But after a while, you begin to realize that you're being guided, that the same thing that's unfolding life is the same thing that is moving you forward, that there is an intelligence, a power that is breathing you, that is facilitating respirations, facilitating circulation, facilitating digestion. There is an intelligence that keeps you alive while you sleep. And that same intelligence is animating all things. Some of you are about to go through some intense things. And I want you to know that you're capable of going through them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be having these experiences. Now's the time to become aware of your breathing. Now's the time to begin to accept what you're experiencing. Now's the time to begin to make peace with yourself. Why? Because when a human being makes peace with themselves, they take the whole friction, the surface level tension and friction of being human off the table. Instead of sitting there second guessing yourself, being overwhelmed by insecurity, and then being rendered incapable of moving when you need to move, you're able to actually be still, to be quiet. Because all of a sudden you've discovered the perfect use case for being human. And the perfect use case for being human is to love. It's to love. It's to live. It's to celebrate. It's to marvel at the miracle that is life. The fact that any of this is happening. After all, it doesn't even matter what's happening. Just the fact that any of it is happening at all is nothing short of a miracle. And so it's time to allow every incomplete ideology, awareness, and teaching to fall by the wayside. Because at times like this, when the rubber meets the road and there's a Cat 5 hurricane heading in your general direction, somehow none of those things seem to make one iota of a difference in your life. And that Cat 5 hurricane could be cancer, it could be divorce, it could be living in a hot zone where two countries are fighting a hot war with each other using a proxy. It could be anything. What you have is you. Who you have is yourself. And the degree to which you're empowered in yourself is the degree to which you're going to be okay. And that is why everything is happening. The reason why it's taken us so long to reach this evolutionary inflection point or point of clarity is because from the get-go you have been indoctrinated into the illusion of imperfection. For some of you, that indoctrination happened through religion. For some of you, it happened through spirituality. For some of you, it happened through family dynamics. For others of you, it's happened through peer groups, through work, through society. And again, I'm going to tell you, and most of you aren't going to believe me, I can't find anything wrong with you. In fact, there's everything right with you. Do you know that there's no one else that's more capable of living your life than you? There's no one else more qualified to have the experience that you're having than you. And no matter what it is that you're going through, nothing can happen to you because you are the infinite, eternal, and immortal self. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Believe in it. Don't believe in it. I couldn't care less. It doesn't change the fact that it's the truth. The more we align with who we are, the simpler life becomes. The more we align with who we are, the simpler life becomes. The simpler life becomes. So all this stuff about being your best self implies that God doesn't know what God's doing. Fixing, healing, changing, improving implies that the sun, the moon, the stars, all of the energy in the universe, everything that's unfolding in the way that it is just happenstance. A happy coincidence. Which is ironic because now scientists are beginning to catch up with what the ancient mystics and yogis have known for millennia. That there is some organizing principle, some power at work. And here's what happens. When you finally accept who you are as a human being, you begin to become a part of that power. You're no longer separate from it. You're no longer out in the cold. Well, it's time for every human being to come home to themselves, to their individuality, to their uniqueness, to the truth of who they are, and to realize that they've got what it takes to live their lives. It is ironic that in today's world, everybody is an expert on you. How is it possible that any other human being could ever be an expert on you when they're not you? They're not living your life. They haven't walked not even 1 foot in your shoes. They have no idea what it's like to be you. And even if they have a radical sense of empathy and compassion, They might have some insight into what it feels like, but even then, they'll never have the totality of the truth of what it means to be you. Because what it means to be you is to be a blessing. What it means to be you is to be perfect. What it means to be you is to be loved, to be whole, to be complete. There is no imperfection in you. There is nothing missing. There is nothing broken. You're just an individual. And that individuality is what makes you beautiful. Your uniqueness is what makes you beautiful. The unique way in which you experience life is what makes you wonderful. And so this is where we find our freedom. We find our freedom by doing the opposite of the brainwashing, the hypnosis, the conditioning, the manipulation that we've endured over the course of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, some of you 80 years of life and living. And what is the opposite? Well, the opposite is just to love. The opposite is to accept. The opposite is to be inclusive. That's the opposite. What have you been taught to do? Well, you've been taught to be afraid. You've been taught to reject. You've been taught to abandon. You've been taught to make wrong. What is the opposite? To love, to unify, to love, to be cohesive, to love. And where does it begin? Begins with you. Begins with you. And listen, you can spend an entire lifetime meditating and experience nothing but the inside of your eyeballs. It doesn't make one iota of a difference to me. It's a great movie. It's a movie that I love watching every now and again, especially when I'm asked to do chores around the house. Fantastic movie, great director, wonderful cast. The Inside of My Eyeballs movie. It's an award-winning movie, really. It should be nominated for an Oscar. But for some of you, that's as great as it's going to get. Because you won't allow yourself to receive the fruits of your meditation. So you'll sit there just watching the inside of your eyelids for 50 years because somebody told you that that's what enlightenment is, because all of a sudden enlightenment became a necessity. Enlightenment wasn't already present within you. How can light not already be present within you? How ignorant a take is that on you? How ridiculous a notion that the light that's present in all things is absent in you, and therefore you have to cultivate it. How ridiculous is it to think that the same infinite vibration that's moving all things along is not the same infinite vibration that's your core essence? Poppycock. I've never heard something more ridiculous in my entire life, and I've always wanted to say poppycock. Poppycock. I said it. It's just garbage. These teachings are nonsense. These people that are spreading these things are idiots. Half-baked baboons. Spreading false truths under the guise of expressing something that's real when it isn't. I've come here today to let you know that there's nothing wrong with you. And I've also come here to let you know that you're just not going to believe me, because your whole life, everyone's tried to convince you that you're the problem, that life would be so much better if you changed, that the relationship would be so much better if you changed, that if only you could get rid of things, if only you could be different, if only you could think differently, if only you could feel differently, if only you could be anybody other than you, then your life would just be so much better. Well, I've come here to tell you today that you being you is what makes your life beautiful. You being you is what makes your life wonderful, and that starts now. And there's no better time for that to begin than right now. The next time somebody needs you to fix, heal, change, and improve in order to love you, they're just basically telling you that they don't love themselves and they have a conditional relationship with themselves, and therefore the best that they can do is have a conditional relationship with you. That is the kind of person that you need to walk away from, because they are ignorant of their true nature. But when you meet someone who doesn't need you to change, who doesn't need you to be different, who can actually embrace the totality of all that you are, who doesn't require anything from you, well, that's when you have to start to get curious. Because that's a person that's onto something. And they're onto something because they've figured out for themselves that being a human being is actually an entry point into something greater. While everyone else is meditating for 6 to 8 hours a day, trying to affect some outcome, manifest some possibility, try and maintain some sense of control over their life, this individual is floating through life, flowing with life, moving through life with a sense of grace and ease, even in the midst of trials and tribulations, because they have a deep and profound connection to themselves. Which one do you want to be? The person who's freaking out right now because life is about to happen? Or the person who's at peace in themselves because they know who they are, they know why they're here, they know that they're blessed, they know they're capable of going through whatever it is that they're about to go through, they know that God hasn't abandoned them, they know that they're not separate from God, they know that God is love, love is in their heart, and they're one with it. Which one do you want to be? Which one? Because that part is up to you. I've come here to let you know today that no matter what it is that you go through, no matter what it is, you're fully empowered to go through it. You're fully capable. But it just requires having the courage to do the opposite of what you've been hypnotized, brainwashed, and bamboozled into doing. You didn't come here to be afraid and then die. You came here to love. You came here to be at peace. You came here to be complete. You came here to appreciate the beauty. You came here to be guided, to be connected. You came here to be you. So while the whole world has built a pretty impressive case against you, and everyone in your life is in on it because they don't love themselves, I'll be here every day reminding you that God made you, that you're nothing but pure love, that there's nothing wrong with you, that every part of you just wants to be accepted, just wants to be loved, just wants to be held, and that the more you accept and embrace these things, the more you uncover every powerful, mystical, spiritual, esoteric truth that every great being before you uncovered. Liberation is not getting rid of things. This reductionist model that we've applied to everything in our reality does not work. You can't get rid of you. You will always be you. And at some point, that has to become the best news ever. At some point, being you has to become the best news ever. The fact that you get to wake up and be you every morning has to become the most exciting, empowering thing you could ever imagine. Because it is. And all the while, you're trying to fix, heal, change, and improve and become somebody else's version of you that doesn't even work for them. You're wasting your time. Just take a breath. At some point, you include yourself in the perfection and you step out of the imperfection that everybody else is participating in. And you realize that you may never be good enough for another person. But at some point, one day, right now, you're finally going to be good enough for you. You're finally going to be good enough for you. Because you are enough for you. Always have been, always will be. So I can show up here with a sense of lightheartedness and joy and peace in my heart. Because my inner reality, my inner experience has nothing to do with what's going on outside of me, and it never had anything to do with what's going on outside of me. I've come here to live my life from the inside out. And when I live my life from the inside out, I live my life from love. I live my life from joy. I live my life with gratitude. I live my life with grace. I'm guided. I'm moved. I'm blessed. And whatever it is that I go through it with peace. You cannot mess this up. You have not done anything wrong. You are not being punished. You are being promoted. You just have to let go of the illusion. You have to let go of the lies. You have to let go of the distortions. You have to let go of the seminars, the retreats, the gurus, the experts, the prophets, the messengers, the messiahs, the milkman, milkwoman, UPS person. And you have to commit to being you. You are the only authority on your life, the only expert. There is no other. And once you get that, and once you allow yourself to become your own guru, your own teacher, your own messenger, your own guide, your own source of wisdom, your own source of love, then you are free. I would like that for you. Most of what I've shared with you will not be heard. But for the one person that hears me, it was worth it. I hope that one person is you. I hope that one person is you. And to the rest of you, poppycock. It's the mantra for the day. You can keep staring at the inside of your eyelids, wondering why God has abandoned you. Or you can accept and love who you are and be free. I love being English. Poppycock. Going to have to Google it to refresh my memory as to what it means. I've been surrounded by Americans for too long. Thankfully. Being English and being a Brit will never leave me, just as much as the truth of my being will never leave me, even though I'm a dual national. Peggy. I know what it means, Mary Pat. I just wanted all of you to Google it so you could be up on your English. Close your eyes, you beautiful humans. And breathe and relax. Good morning, sweet friends, and welcome to another Cool to Calm meditation. At some point, you have to realize that everyone's lied to you. That all of these people that have been trying to fix you, change, and improve you have just been trying to take advantage of your own insecurities, lack of self-acceptance, and lack of self-love. And the reason why they've been trying to do that is because the ego tries to make itself in its image. There are people who actually believe the world would be a better place if everyone else was just more like them. And that is the antithesis of creation. It's the opposite of the whole point why you're here. And this is why you suffer. You came here to radically be an individual, to be unique, to not conform to any ideology, to have your own unique experience of everything, no matter what it is, and to live in the brilliance and the miracle of that uniqueness. And once you get that, you're free. You step out of the confines of the imperfection economy, where you're constantly being bombarded every day by something that's going to make you better, that's going to improve you, that's going to make you more like every other person that's lost and wandering around haplessly in this world. And what you're going to discover is a power and the truth inside of you. Now more than ever, it is important that you unsubscribe from the nonsense that you have been bombarded with your whole life. Life would not be better without you. Life would not be better without your emotions. Life would not be better without your feelings. Life would not be better without your thoughts. Life would not be better without your physicality the way that it is. Life would not be better without your identity, your individuality, and your uniqueness. This world would not be better without some form of you. This world is great because you are here, because you are beautiful, because you are an individual, and because you are unique. And this is what it means to be empowered. It means to come into the profound acceptance of who you are as an individual, to open your heart to yourself, and to realize that this whole human thing isn't a condition. It's not something that you have to overcome. It's not something that you have to keep apologizing for the rest of your life. It is something that you celebrate. It's something that you've come here to experience. It, in and of itself, is a miracle. One singular energy, one singular consciousness expressing itself in 8 billion different ways. And that's just the human beings. Close your eyes, open your palms, and take some long, deep cleansing breaths. Resting in the awareness of your breath transforms your life into a living meditation. Becoming aware of your every inhalation and exhalation. You can spend an entire lifetime working on yourself, or in a singular moment you can finally just accept and love who you are and be free. Allowing your every inhalation and exhalation to deepen this acceptance and this love of you. Your emotions, your feelings, your mind, your body, your uniqueness, your individuality, who you are, how you are, where you are. Allowing your breath to support you in becoming aware of this beautiful human being that you are, this wonderful human being that you are, this once in a creation event, once in an infinity event that you are. Shaking hands with your emotions and giving them a hug. Good morning. Bring it in. Shaking hands with your feelings and giving them a hug. Shaking hands with your mind and giving it a hug. Shaking hands with your cells, your organs, your body, giving it a hug. Shaking hands with your individuality and your uniqueness. And embracing all that you authentically are. If I have to change in order to be loved, then you don't love yourself. if I have to be different in order to get ahead, then I don't want that form of success. And if I have to stop being who and what I am in order to know God, then you don't know what God is. Today, seeing all of the hypnosis, the brainwashing, the indoctrination, and the imperfection lifting out of you like grey ash or smoke, the years of gaslighting, making you feel like you're crazy, second-guessing yourself, everything lifting up and out of you, everything that constitutes the illusion of imperfection that has been superimposed over your brilliant, beautiful, and bold heart. Becoming aware of a light, a love, an electricity, a warmth in your heart. Palms of your hands, soles of your feet, crown of your head. As everyone else's distortions leave you, the truth remains, and that truth is the infinite love that you are. Allowing the illusion of imperfection to be lifted off of you. A false deficit that you've been trying to make up for your entire life. One that isn't even real. You are not a sinner. You are not low vibrational. Your chakras have not malfunctioned. God has not abandoned you. And you no longer need to project your light, your love, and your power onto anyone else. You are a self-enclosed unit. Of love, of light, of joy, of health and vitality, of peace and prosperity. And every blessing has just been patiently waiting for you to finally be yourself. allowing all of those blessings to come into your life now. A complete foundation of acceptance and love welling up from within you. A self-belief, a self-confidence, a trust, a knowing that everything is going to be okay, that you're going to be okay, that you've got what it takes to live your life, and that life is not the enemy. That life doesn't have to change. It doesn't have to be different. No matter what happens, you've got what it takes to go through it. And everyone who doubted you, everybody who tried to change you, everybody who made you question yourself, everybody who made you question your value and your worth, well, you see, they just don't love themselves. It was never about you. Never could be. Giving yourself permission to be enlightened, because you already are. Giving yourself permission to be loved and to be love, because you already are. Giving yourself permission to self-heal, to be vibrant, to be vital, because you already are. Giving yourself permission to be intuitive, to be guided, to be creative, to innovate, because you already are. You are free of the illusion of imperfection, and you are no longer under the influence of all of the purveyors of polarity that have had their hooks in you emotionally, psychologically, financially, energetically, in every way. Purveyors of polarity, be gone. Distorted humans who see duality, be gone. There is nothing but love here. Nothing but the truth here. Nothing but a uniqueness and a beauty here. Take some breaths and just notice how you feel. If you're on Zoom, let me know in the chat. If you're on YouTube, you can let me know in the comments. How are you feeling? How wonderful is it to be loved by you? To not have to waste 50 years of your life staring at the insides of your eyelids. How wonderful it is to be you. How wonderful it is to be unique. How wonderful it is to be an individual. How wonderful it is to get off the hamster wheel of working on yourself. How wonderful it is to stop participating in everyone else's lack of self-love and acceptance. How wonderful it is. I have a couple of announcements. We have a group alignment session today. What is a group alignment session? When the pandemic first started, people wanted to have time with me individually. However, not everyone can afford to come to an individual session. And so I reinstated group alignment sessions where people could receive personal support from me in being empowered in themselves in a group setting in a way that's way more accessible. And these calls are offered every day. So in the event that you have always wanted to have an individual session, but for whatever reason haven't been able to have one, come to a group alignment session. Allow yourself to be supported and being empowered in your individuality, your uniqueness, and your beauty there. Also, we're getting together in person in December, and I can't wait. For so many of you, you've felt so lonely and so disenfranchised and so disconnected from people. It's important, every now and again, that you show up in a place, have a great time, meet other people, and realize that you're not alone in this world. You can even take some pictures of proof that there are other people in the world who love you. Who are just like you. Unique. If you're on YouTube, hit the bell button, subscribe, spread the word. Congratulations. For the first time ever, you've watched something on YouTube where somebody hasn't tried to change you, fix you, heal you, improve you, and somebody hasn't needed you to be different. First time ever you've been empowered in yourself. May it not be the last. Wishing you all a wonderful day. Sending you all my love. Thanks for being here for 1,331 days. A naturally evolving, organic happening called Call to Calm that began in the height of fear and confusion has now become a beacon and a lighthouse for the whole world to come home to themselves. Spread the word at your local unity churches, centers for spiritual living, everywhere where anyone has any inkling or curiosity about what it takes to truly live an empowered life. Or people who have just had enough of working on themselves year after year after year, trying to become some other version of themselves so people who don't love themselves can finally love and accept them. Have a wonderful day. Be well. All the information is on the website, panachesci.com. Don't come because you need to. Come because you want to.